What up, Hyperchange? Q4 2020 deliveries from Tesla, hot off the press. They dropped them like 8 a.m. on a Saturday morning. Nobody was expecting that, but the numbers were fire. And so excited. Let's just run through these. Most important number you can track for Tesla. How many cars did they sell? Screw S&P, whatever your homie thinks about the stock. It's all about the fundamentals. How many cars did they sell? So that's why their delivery report is in some ways more important than the financial reports, just to get the really, pulse on the business here. And Tesla, a record quarter. I mean, I get tired of saying this because it's literally almost every quarter they produce another record beating themselves, but 180,570 deliveries, a huge record, up from like 141,000 last quarter. Massive sequential growth. This was 61% year-over-year growth. 161,000 Model 3 and Y, S and X there, 18,920. Still only 11% subject to lease accounting. Tesla, even still, more and more of their cars they're selling direct. They don't even have to rely on leasing. That's not a strong thing for demand. Wow, this was an unbelievable quarter, slightly above what I was expecting of like 177,000. And it is a little bit of a bummer because some people are like, oh, their guidance was to build and deliver like 500,000 cars heading into the year. They came in at like just under that, like by a couple hundred cars, which is kind of a bummer, but like who cares? Like the full year, 499,550 deliveries, up from 367,000 or so last year. I mean, Tesla had tremendous growth despite the fact there was a global pandemic. Every other auto brand is shrinking, and their factory was shut down for a month and a half or so during the first or second quarter. So you had all of these headwinds hitting Tesla, and yet despite all of that, they were basically hit their guidance of 500,000 deliveries and cars produced. I mean, every other car company threw out their guidance. I mean, this was unprecedented. Tesla, a company known for not hitting its targets, nailed them. And if you actually go back to watch Elon talking about the company in 2014, when him and JB were talking about the Gigafactory, look at the OG plans for Panasonic. It was like, we're going to be building 500,000 EVs with the help of this by 2020. And that's literally what's happening. The Gigafactory is pumping out a ton of 2170 cells with Panasonic. And now we're hitting deliveries of 500,000 cars a year. I mean, Tesla well on their way to millions of cars a year. Let's take a little bit of the visuals here, just so you can get a scope of this. 61% growth. Organic growth for an automaker that's vertically integrated, building their products, is unheard of, an all-time business case study. We did break out Model Y versus Model 3. This is with the help of Troy Teslike and Mo from Hypercharts. And go to hypercharts.co/TSLA to check these numbers with me. But we kind of estimate Model Y, even though Tesla doesn't officially break it out, to give you some flavor here. So you can see Model Y was about 42,000 versus 120,000 Model 3, and a huge just breakout quarter here for Tesla. What I want to highlight here is, I've been saying they could hit 950,000 or a million deliveries next year, which seems crazy, but when you think about 181,000 essentially a quarter is 722,000 a year, growing at 61%. So Tesla's already at 722,000 run rate averaged in Q4. So they're probably higher than that, 750,000 run rate. And if you look at the press release, they say that Model Y production in Shanghai has begun. So, and if you go back to their slides from the Q3 2020 shareholder letter, they already had a capacity of 840,000 units with just Model 3 in China, not even including Model Y in China. So now we have Model Y in China getting off the ground. In my opinion, they want to scale that to 250,000 units a year run rate by the end of this year, but that's already coming online, starting production now. So Tesla at the end of last quarter, Q3, actually the quarter before last quarter, because Q4 already happened, was at 840,000 total capacity. So Tesla, to me, even though they delivered 499,000, 500,000 cars this year, is already basically in the bag with at least 750, 800,000 deliveries next year. But they're probably going to grow and max out production a little more. And then you have the Plaid Model S. When does that happen? How does that work with the Model S and X production line utilization? Probably ups that a little bit. But I think overall, my estimate is still around 950,000 cars delivered next year for Tesla, with most of that growth already in the bag, because they're already doing 181,000 a year. You added Model Y, which is 722,000 run rate. You added Model Y in China, it's like we're almost at 900,000. Model Y Berlin, Cybertruck, I'm not even counting those vehicles because I think they're just going to come in such small quantities at the end of 2021. But Tesla here is setting up to just have insane growth. And all of the past year or two, they've been building factories nonstop. In China, they were been building that factory nonstop, and they were getting no revenue for it until early 2019. And so then you see how now they're building huge factory in Austin, huge factory in Berlin. They've been expanding Fremont. They're continuing to constantly expand Shanghai. I mean, the increase in production capacity will always lead their vehicle delivery growth. So I see Tesla building 3 massive factories on 3 continents, and plus Fremont, And it's like, dude, these guys have it's a matter of time before Tesla is delivering over 1 million car a year run rate. That'll happen sometime in 2021. And so these deliveries, in line with expectations, they insinuate a frankly massive profit for Tesla. If we take a look at their financials here on Hypercharts, I mean, Tesla, $8.77 billion in Q3 in revenue, $2.063 billion in gross profit, $809 million in operating income. These were all records, just an absolutely gangbuster quarter for Tesla in Q3. And what happened this quarter? They got costs down, they got better at producing shit, and they built 20% more cars. And all of that incremental gross profit flows to the bottom line. So this is why Wall Street and the stock market's been getting so excited about Tesla, because they proved their model. They proved that they have incredible operating leverage here. Like, the costs are fixed. They're not building as many stores, as many service centers, as many superchargers for as fast as the cars have been increasing. Tesla for years has had their hands behind their back, building a business model, preparing for millions of cars on the road, but only having a couple thousand, couple 100,000, waiting for the vehicle fleet base to grow into the infrastructure they built, and waiting for this incredible economic inflection point where the gross profit goes up a little bit, the costs stay fixed, and then we just have all of this incremental, vehicle deliveries flowing right to the bottom line. And that's why Tesla's already up there producing almost a 10% operating margin, or that's what I think they'll hit in Q4, when just a couple years ago they were losing a ton of money. So it's like the expenses have stayed flat while vehicle deliveries have soared, and now Tesla's just almost overnight, it seems like, become one of the most profitable auto companies of all time for their scale. And you just keep thinking about, it's like, dude, like, what's going to happen next? Like, they're just going to keep building way more cars. They're launching the Plaid Model S, like FSD prices going up. It's not hard to calculate how significant, how many levers of profitability to just be cranking out billions in cash flow per quarter that Tesla has. Yeah, I mean, I'm almost like, wow, these numbers in Q4 are going to look like the profitability and revenue financials based on these deliveries are going to be unbelievable. 10 billion plus, potentially over $1 billion in operating income. There you have it, folks. Tesla delivers 181,000 cars in Q4, 499,570 for the year. Let's round it up. Congratulations, Elon and the squad, for hitting 500,000 deliveries in 2020, producing over 500,000 cars a year. I mean, this seems huge. It seems incredible, but this is going to be a drop in the bucket, and Tesla's business right now is going to look like a pipsqueak compared to where we are headed. We are barreling towards the millions of units per year, and that fundamental metric, I think, is going to carry Tesla's valuation. It's going to make them extremely profitable. And then the other thing I'm going to be really fascinated to watch going forward is the pricing of FSD, because we're selling more and more of these computers on wheels, and as that software attachment price goes up and up and up, the margins only get juicier. And that is the underlying trend that is going to be epic to watch unfold next year. My prediction right now is about 900 to 950,000 units delivered in 2021 conservatively. I would love to know what your expectations are for next quarter, next year, and just what you thought about those numbers. Please leave it below. Anyway, this is Hyperchange. I hope y'all had an amazing new year. If you're watching this, I'm putting out another video about the Plaid Model S very soon, so definitely subscribe and check that out if you haven't already. Huge shout out to our Patreon supporters, producers. See y'all next time. Peace.